Yo, what's going on guys? EN77 here. This is how I beat the Triple Draft Global Tournament in Clash Royale. Alright, hopping in the first match, you're going to be facing this guy, and it is always good to have a building in Triple Draft, so just going to go with the bomb tower here, and also going to pick Hog, I think, because it's always good to have a pretty reliable source of damage like Hog Rider, and yeah, you're actually going to have a pretty good first few cards. You're actually pretty much like a normal Hog deck, so definitely feeling good about this. And gonna pick arrows here because I did see that he had the option of Scar Me, so I'm gonna be pretty safe here. And also Wizard is really good in triple draft when you pair it with the right stuff, because it's pretty hard for them to stop unless they have like a lightning or something. I'm also gonna pick Dart Goblin here in a second, I think, because we could have picked Princess as well, but you know, Princess can be like a bit of a hit or miss card. Sometimes it's really good and sometimes it's just not too useful depending on what your opponent runs. We are top 50 currently. I think we're like maybe top 20-ish to be exact. So yeah, pretty high stake games here. Just going to cycle in EQ. You never really know what your opponent's really playing in triple draft. I mean, you kind of see like what card options they have, but you never really know what they're going to choose, because sometimes they just try to throw you off and stuff, but you can usually kind of tell what their deck might be based around or something. Alright, so this guy's going to have Dark Prince and Skeleton Army here, and honestly I wasn't really paying too much attention to like what his win conditions were, but if you really want to be strategic about it, it's probably a pretty good idea to like you know, choose your cards based off of what your opponent's win condition is and what other support cards you think they most likely chose. So there is definitely quite a bit of strategy involved in this, but it's also kind of just being like good at the game in general and being able to make all these random cards work in a deck, even though they're, you know, not really normal cards that most people would play. Alright, and looks like our opponent does have RG here. We're going to shut it down super easily, but yeah, he is going to have a bit of a push here, but I think the arrow should stop most of it. Yeah, going to take no damage here, actually, and it is going to be pretty nice to have Bomb Tower here against the RG, and even if he builds up the RG push from the back, we can always stop it with, like, a Valkyrie plus Wizard, as we just did there, so, yeah, looking pretty good here. I actually did face this guy earlier, and he did BM me a lot, so if I beat this guy, I might BM him a lot as well, just a heads up. Alright, so looks like Dart Goblin is still going to get a shot right there, actually, and yeah, honestly a really good deck that we drafted here. It may seem a bit awkward that we do have Wizard in the deck, but I feel like Wizard's actually super good in triple draft. Like, I know a lot of you guys think Wizard is so OP on ladder, but it's actually not really too good, to be honest, at least for top ladder players, but definitely the Wizard definitely is very good at these draft tournaments, just because it's like really hard for them to have the proper spells to kill, or to have like the, I don't know, kind of the right answers to it. It's kind of rare for them to actually have the right stuff. We're actually going to EQ his Skarm. We're actually going to predict. I'm just going to give him a bit of BM right now. I'm probably going to BM him for the next like few seconds of this match, because he did BM me a lot earlier when he won, so that's why I'm BMing. I'm not really a dirty BMer in general, but yeah, looks like we're going to have a really easy first win here. I don't really think he has any way to break through, and yeah, Bomb Tower just super OP here. And also, honestly, Wizard actually did a pretty good job this match as well. Yeah, pretty much all of our cards putting in work, even though they seem a bit awkward together, but it's more about getting like cards that just work well in draft rather than picking the most OP cards. So that's going to be GG. Alright, hopping in the next match, we're actually going to be up against Morton here. And yeah, so going to pick Magic Archer here. It's going to be a really good alternate win condition, and I think I'm going to pick Mega Minion here, and it will also be good to have Pekka, so I'm probably going to pick that right here. I'm kind of just taking a few seconds to like decide what would go best based on what my opponent is offered here, but looks like we're building a pretty good Pekka deck here, kind of just choosing the obvious cards that you would think are good. And by the way, guys, I do always like Poison as my big spell. I feel like it's a lot better than Fireball, because it always will finish off the Wizards or Musketeers or Electro Wizards, whereas Fireball will leave them with like 1 HP left, so yeah. I'm also going to get a Goblin Drill here, because he might either pick like E-Giant or Hog Rider most likely, so it's going to be nice to have Goblin Drill as like a building to kind of like pool those building targeting units, even though it's not as good as like a Bomb Tower or whatever it could be. Alright, so I'm actually pretty happy with this deck, and it's pretty nice that we have Magic Archer here as well. I feel like Magic Archer is pretty underrated in triple draft, because it's really good to have like a, I don't know, like an alternate way to get damage sometimes. Okay, our skeletons are not going to deploy there for some reason. But yeah, Magic Archer is super good, because sometimes the games are like really stale in triple draft, where neither of you can really get much damage, but when you have that Magic Archer, you can kind of always have a chance of breaking through at least for a little bit of damage. And our Goblin Drill actually will get one stab there. It's kind of weird with the Goblin Drill where it's like a true red, true blue thing, if you guys have ever heard of that, where it like sometimes will get that one stab but sometimes not, depending on which side it's deployed on. But yeah, probably gonna work in our favor here this match. Alright, so not really too sure what Morton's using exactly. Looks like he's running some Hog deck with a pretty fast cycle, I guess, and I'm gonna shut that down pretty easily. Okay, he actually does go with the lightning here, so actually got quite a lot of damage here. Our Pekka's pretty much dead, so just gonna go with Goblin Drill in the other lane. Gonna be pretty hard to get damage here, I feel like. And he is gonna cycle back to another Bomber, but at least we are gonna get a few shots off before he's really able to finish it off. Maybe later in the game we can go with like Goblin Drill plus Log so that it can kind of finish off the Bomber, but it might be a bit hard to really get too much going here. He did get a pretty nice lead early on as well from that lightning, but not looking too bad for us here still. And who knows, maybe we can get like a ton of damage for our Magic Archer or something. And his Furnace won't really get any value against us. We can always just like go with a Poison on it, and it will fully shut it down ever since the spawner nerf. So yeah, should be pretty good here. And you know, I know most of you guys probably already know the basic drafting tips, but you basically just want to be like a little bit more passive than normal at the start of the game. You kind of want to see what exactly your opponent is running, and you know, because like if you try to make like a big push with like say Pekka or like a giant or something, if you don't know what they have in hand or what deck they're really running, you can't really do it without being like super risky. Because what if they have like a skeleton army or something, then you're just gonna lose your entire push unless you have like the zap in hand or whatever to stop it. So it's not really worth it to be too aggressive. Alright, so gonna go with that Magic Archer here. He's gonna predict it with the Heal Spirit, but he's still gonna have to spend the Hunter there, so not too bad for us here. I'm just gonna stop his Hog Rider with Skeletons plus Log. You can actually fully counter it with Skeletons plus Log, but it was a bit weird there, so we didn't fully counter. But I'm just gonna go in with a Goblin Drill plus Cannon Cart here. He does also have the delivery, but I'm just going to get a Magic Archer off on it, and I think the Magic Archer will land us some pretty good damage here. And looks like the Skeletons do actually fully stop the Hog Rider this time, and Magic Archer also going to chip away a little bit right here. So just like that, we actually kind of came back here, so now it's going to be a pretty close game. Alright, he does actually Hunter in the back, so I'm just going to go with a Poison here. If he goes with like a Bomber, it should also die to the Poison, but it looks like he's just going to try to defend without it here. I'm just going to go with a Magic Archer right now. I'm going to always be ready with my Pekka here in case he goes with the Hog Rider, and looks like he does right here, and we're going to have it just on time, so Pekka going to fully deny it, and it's still going to counter push, so he's going to have to play something against it. Alright, so honestly I probably could have prediction logged on the Bomber. I just didn't want to be too aggressive because I might need the log for defense right here, and just going to use it against his Hog Rider, but I think it will get, yeah, one shot still, so not looking too good here. But he did just go with that pretty aggressive lightning here, so I'm going to go with the Goblin Drill on the side, and I'm actually going to have Drag Glitch there once again, but he's going to go with a Bomber here, so I'm just going to Poison. I'm just going to log as well, and he's going to go with the Hog Rider, but the Cannon Cart in cannon form is actually going to kind of tank for it a bit, and he's going to Lightning, but it looks like those Goblins are going to finish him off, and that's going to be game against one of the best players. Alright, hopping in the next match, you're going to be facing this guy. Not really sure who he is, but yeah. And by the way, guys, I feel like it's always really good to pick a building when you're drafting cards. It's always pretty important to have one, because the opponent will pretty much always have some type of building targeting unit, so you always want to have a way to pull it off of your towers, or like lead it on a different track than your towers. And by the way, guys, I know a lot of you just always will pick Tornado when you see it, but I feel like it's actually not too good in triple draft, but I'm going to pick it here just to synergize well with the Wizard and stuff, and we didn't really have too many better options. We actually have a pretty decent deck here, kind of like a giant control deck with a bit of minor chip potential and stuff like that. And E-Spirit is also pretty good to clean up swarms in triple draft, but you do have to be careful of the possible king activation they can get. And he actually probably could have activated King Tower there, but he kind of messed up his Musketeer placement, so yeah, not going to be able to activate right there. I'm not really sure how good these players are, because Triple Draft is a bit, maybe like a bit more random than other global tournament game modes, but you know, I guess it kind of allows players with different strengths to do well in this tournament. I'm not really sure like what type of players do the best in these tournaments, but I feel like it's just good for people who have like a good general game knowledge and just kind of know like a thing or two about drafting. Like some very good cards to draft will be like Royal Delivery and Arrows and stuff like that, and even Wizard and Witch are pretty strong here as well. Alright, so we do have a pretty good early lead here, and we do have a really defensive deck as well, so if we get a good lead at the start, we should be able to maintain it pretty well, so I'm pretty happy with this start. But he did have a Pekka though, so it's going to be pretty hard to get our Giant to the tower ever, but I think we should be able to defend pretty well as well, so we don't have to worry too much about attacking. And I'm just going to go with my Giant here, just to kind of soak up stuff, even though I know it's not really going to get any damage on his tower, but you know, sometimes you have to use your Giants or whatever tanky units you have just to like eat up stuff rather than to just get damage. So yeah, Wizard's kind of gonna shred the Pekka pretty easily here, and you can see Wizard is quite good here. He's not really gonna have any proper spell to respond to it, so it's always getting quite a lot of value. Looks like he is gonna have Ram Rider as well, but Cannon should shut that down pretty easily. We might try to get an activated King Tower here pretty soon, but it might be a little bit difficult depending on what cards he has here. Alright, and he's going to go with another Musketeer in the back. I might get a Lightning off on this in a second here. I'm going to try to have the Wizard splash the Dark Prince shield off and then get a Lightning. Okay, that was actually kind of bad for us. I wasn't expecting to go with the Pekka at the bridge like that, so the Lightning not really going to hit anything that I wanted it to, but the defensive miner might be able to help a little bit, but looking kind of bad for us right here. Okay, Cannon is going to kind of block the Ram Rider a bit, but it is still going to charge on our tower. And looks like the Musketeer will also get a bit of chip damage here. I know we're going to be down Elixir. I'm just going to Lightning as well, because I'm pretty confident in our defenses, so not too worried, even though we're probably down like at least like 6 Elixir or something like that. Alright, so he's going to have a Pekka in the back, so we're just going to set up with a Wizard here. Going to go with a high Mega Minion, and should be able to defend pretty well with the cannon and stuff. And he's going to have a Fireball, but it's never going to take out our Wizard unless he spends those arrows as well, so looking really good for us here. Now, by the way, guys, what would you think of a 2v2 global tournament? I kind of like to see one of those come sometime soon. It's really I feel like it's really interesting whenever there's like a 2v2 game mode or like a 2v2 challenge or something, so it would be interesting to see if they made it a global tournament at some point, even though I do think triple draft is actually pretty fun, but always nice to try different things, so I feel like that could be a good thing to try in the future. Or I guess you could just say what risks would you guys like the Clash Royale team to take, because like I feel like they're, as pretty much everyone says, they're kind of taking like a bit of a steady path a lot of the time, and I guess that's good in some ways, but sometimes they should probably try to go out of their comfort zone and try, I don't know, like experiment with new things. So yeah, what would you guys like to see the most? I'm not really sure what I'd like to see, but yeah, definitely something with 2v2 could be pretty fun, and as we're talking here, that's going to be GG. Alright, hopping in the next match here, we're going to be facing Diego B. He is a really good player, and he has been playing for a super long time. So yeah, so just going to pick Magic Archer here again, and I think Rascals are also really good in triple draft. It's always pretty easy to get a lot of value out of them, because normally pretty much everyone on ladder has like the log in their deck, so they can pretty easily take out at least the 2-girl Rascals, but I feel like in draft it's a lot harder since they have a lot less of a chance to get a log. And I'm going to pick Ram Rider here as well. It's always really nice to defend well with the Ram Rider, then like kind of counter push, and looks like we do actually have a pretty solid deck here. Should have good defense, and offense, we do have a Ram Rider for offense, and Fire Spirit can kind of chip away with our spells as well, and maybe a bit of Magic Archer chip damage as well if we're lucky. So pretty good deck right here, pretty well rounded as well against whatever he might use. Alright, so we're just going to wait for him to pick his final cards here. Alright, so we do have Fire Spirit in our starting hand here, so I feel like Fire Spirit will be really good for us in this match. Always gonna force out a response. It looks like he does have the cheap response of skeletons against it, but yeah, pretty nice to still have it though, because sometimes like when they have like an awkward cycle and you go with the Fire Spirit, they have to either spend like at least a few elixir or just gonna get like over a fireball of damage. So yeah, and he does actually activate King Tower there off of our middle magic archer, so I'm just gonna go with the Ram Rider here. He did waste his Fisherman and Goblin Cage, so I don't know if he has too much here, but it looks like he's gonna have Zappy, so honestly a bit of a bad start here for us. Not really too happy about him activating King Tower here. And it's going to be a bit troublesome to clean up his support units, but I think Rascals should actually do a pretty good job here. It looks like they're actually going to take out pretty much everything here, so that's kind of why I really like having Rascals in this deck. Really good for, I don't know, kind of just like stopping those big pushes in their tracks, and they can't really spell it down most of the time, so yeah. And by the way guys, like, Royal Delivery is also really good in this challenge, but you do also have to be careful when you pick certain cards like Delivery, because if they have like a skeleton army or something, you're going to be kind of screwed, so your choices kind of will just depend on what your opponent is offered as their card, so you do have to kind of watch out for that a bit. And I'm just going to go with a Magic Archer here on his Ice Wizard. He's going to go with Zappies here to protect it, but Logbait's going to finish off the Ice Wizard, and I think we should be able to get maybe like a Mega Minion down here to finish off the Zappies. I probably could have saved up for Rascals, but I kind of just want to defend just like this. And alright, the one Zappy is going to kill my Mega Minion and shoot the tower, so he's going to get a good amount of damage here, but I think we should be okay here. We do have pretty much everything we need to defend, but he also has super good defense with like Goblin Cage and Fisherman, so might be a bit hard to break through here, but maybe in the later parts of the game we can kind of get like a lucky Magic Archer or something to break through. And also Poison getting really good value right there, so if we can keep up, I don't know, kind of this slow game, we could probably win. We were kind of a bit aggressive at the start, so we did take a bit of damage, but I don't think he has like too many good ways to actually break through on offense, so if we just defend well, we should be able to do pretty okay here. He is kind of stacking all of his units here, giving us a super good poison again, and he's going to also Goblin Giant in front of it, but I don't really think it's going to do too much, because all his supporting units are just going to die really quickly, so not looking the best for us here, but I'm just going to go with the Rascals. I'm also going to get a Ram Rider here in a second. A bit aggressive bias, and he's going to have Royal Delivery, it looks like, but I kind of just want to get a bit of chip damage somehow, because I'm not really sure how else we're going to get it. We could also maybe get some Magic Archer damage at some point, but it's kind of looking like he's defending, or he's kind of like stopping the Magic Archers from ever happening most of the time, so not really sure if we can like count on that. Alright, so yeah, he's playing his units really weirdly to the side, so we can never really line them up too well with the tower, but I'm just going to get a poison off here. He does have Fireball as well, but he's probably going to be forced to spend his Fireball on our Magic Archers and stuff a lot of the time, as opposed to just like hitting our tower, so I think we should be pretty okay. I'm just going to go with the Rascals here to defend his Delivery Recruit, and he's actually going to Fireball it, but I think we should be okay. Going to try to get a Magic Archer off here. Okay, unfortunately the Rascal Boy does actually kind of push the Magic Archer out of the way, but not the end of the world here. We do just need to get a bit of chip damage somehow still though, so not the best spot right here. I'm just gonna Poison Cycle his tower actually, because you know, he does have Fireball, but we're gonna try to force him to spend it on other stuff, so we might actually be able to get a Magic Archer here off on the Goblin Giant. Looks like he's gonna kind of predict it, but Rascal Boy is tanking. It looks like the Magic Archer actually does lock onto the tower, so that's quite a lot of damage here. Now it's actually pretty even right here, so could be anyone's game. And just gonna get Rascals off here, and you can kind of see like how much value the Rascals are getting this game. Yeah, doing really well here, and yeah, he's gonna Fireball here, but we just need like a couple poisons and we should be okay here. And Rascal's also gonna kind of block up the lane once again. And yeah, Goblin Giant is coming down, but I think we should be able to get back to another cannon just in time, so yeah, just gonna get one more poison off just for good measure, and as long as that Fisherman doesn't get any damage, that should be GG right here. Yeah, that's gonna be game. Okay, so hopping in the next match, you're gonna have the choice between a few cards here. And by the way, guys, I don't really recommend picking Elixir Collector in triple draft. I feel like a lot of people choose it, but it doesn't really get too much value for me unless you have like some alternate unit to spell bait with, or at least like bait their big spell, because they pretty much do always have a big spell. And we could have actually chose Delivery there, which I was saying was pretty good before, but I feel like Zap should be a lot better with Sparky here, so that's why I'm gonna choose it. And sometimes cards like Minion Horde can get a lot of value, but not really when they have the option of all those splash cards, so not really going to choose it here. We could pick Goblin Giant or something, that's normally what I'd choose, but since we do have a Pekka, I'm just going to go with the Goblin Barrel here, and alright, I think we should go with Earthquake here. It's not really going to kill much of his units or whatever, but it should always get us good tower chip damage, so that's why I picked it here. And also going to go with Prince here, just so that we have like a pretty, I don't know, we can build up like pretty big pushes in this match. So alright, so not really sure what he's running. I wasn't really paying too much attention to his cards once again, but looks like he does actually have Goblin Hut here, so EQ is actually going to come in really handy right here. Yeah, so he's going to have Miner as well, so gonna be interesting here. It's kind of gonna depend on what his last few cards are, how the matchup will be, but we do have a pretty good I don't know, we just have like pretty good cards to build up a super big push with like the Baby Dragon, Pekka, Prince, and maybe even like a Sparky or something, so should be pretty good to get damage here. Alright, his one Zappy actually is gonna survive there, and he does actually have Goblin Drill and Mine, which is kind of strange, but gonna work out for him pretty well there, and he's actually gonna get quite a bit of damage right there, but he's still gonna have to respond to that Prince, and looks like he will use a log here, but should be pretty okay for us, because now we won't have the login cycle for our next Goblin Barrel, so not too bad right here. Alright, so I'm kind of just gonna play patient here. We do have a pretty heavy deck, but I'm just gonna set up a Sparky here in the right lane. It's gonna may seem a bit aggressive, but it's kind of going to block up the lane, and we are up a few elixir, it looks like, so should be pretty okay here. But Cannon Cart will honestly be a bit annoying, because it's always going to take 2 Sparky shots to kill, and it will kind of like finish off most of the Sparky by the time it gets the second shot off. It looks like he actually does go for a weird defensive Goblin Drill, but it's going to kind of work out for him here, and he's also going to unfortunately Fireball right as I go with minions there, so not looking too good right here, but luckily our Goblin Barrel actually does get a bit of chip damage before he ends up logging it, so not too bad right here. But yeah, I feel like it's not like too bad here, but the Cannon Cart will be quite annoying for us. At least we do have the Earthquake for his Goblin Hut though, so we do have something going for us, but could be a little bit difficult right here. Looks like he's actually going to go for a Goblin Drill plus Miner here, but I think Prince should do a pretty good job at stopping the drills, even though it doesn't do splash damage or anything, it's still gonna handle it pretty well, so yeah. Unfortunately he is always gonna have log for our Goblin Barrels, it seems like, but hopefully we can kind of like bait him out to use the log on our like Princes or something like that sometimes, so maybe we can still find a way to get a bit of chip damage here, and I'm gonna kind of just rely on overwhelming him hopefully in a push later in the game with like Sparky and Pekka and all of that stuff, but not looking too good right here. Alright, just gonna set up with a Prince in the back just so that we can kind of split up his units kind of, but yeah, he's actually gonna go with the defensive Goblin Drill against the Sparky. I kind of just let it go because I knew that it wouldn't really I don't know, give us a chance to break through after he used that, so I feel like it's just better to just let our Pekka die and it was good to let our Sparky die as well, but I'm just going to set up with another Sparky here. He did also waste the log there actually on the Pekka, so now we can go with the Goblin Barrel. It's probably going to be pretty hard for him to defend, but he does actually have Fireball too, so it's going to be a little bit annoying right here. By the way guys, sorry if my commentary is a bit bad today. My voice is a bit, I don't know, just feels a bit weird somehow, so I'm not really sure if I'm speaking clearly as normal or something like that, but at least there's hopefully good gameplay. Alright, so just going to go with a Prince plus Goblin Barrel here. He doesn't have logging cycle, so I'm not really sure how he can stop this. We do have to watch out though, because his Cannon Cart is coming towards our tower. Oh no! Okay, just gonna Earthquake on defense here, and looks like Prince is gonna finish it off, so thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye!